Hey, welcome to my channel. Um, in my earlier video, basically, I talked a little bit, or I hit upon a subject during my work remarks about basically Glassdoor reviews. So let's just talk about reviews in general, basically. I mean, when it comes down to it, uh, Glassdoor reviews can be gamed. Similarly, how people game Amazon reviews or Walmart reviews or Yelp reviews for that matter. Um, you just hire people to basically go in and just put in the reviews themselves. Whereas in Glassdoor, um, it's supposed to be technically anonymous in a ways, but in reality, you can determine if you're a small enough company to know who the person who wrote it. Basically, put it that way. Um, it's not that hard, quite honestly. And I could say this: should you take Glassdoor reviews as being accurate? I would say no, and here's the reason why. So I'm just going by examples of what I've done in the past, and what I've seen in the past. So one company I used to work for, we had no Glassdoor reviews at all. There were no Glassdoor reviews at all, and it was one of those things where it wasn't mandated by the CEO per se, but sort of um, an unspoken thing basically from him and upper management, like him, the CTO or vice president, as well as the CFO, kind of said like, hey, we don't have any good Glassdoor reviews, or there's no Glassdoor reviews at all. Let's create some Glassdoor reviews. So it's one of those things where everyone was asked to write a Glassdoor review, and I'm like, you shouldn't be forcing an employee to write a Glassdoor review about your company. It should be voluntary. That was the whole purpose of a Glassdoor review. It should be voluntary. So me being me, if you know who I am, know me well enough, I was like not taking it lightly. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take it as a joke. I'm going to make it as a joke, basically. I wrote a really, I don't want to say, it wasn't scathing. It was more of, and it was like well over the top, put it that way. Just well over the top review of the company I did. Basically saying like, oh, we have the smartest person in the company. We have the best ping pong champion in the northeast area, and such, etc. Basically to that point. And it was really funny to the point where everyone knew it was me. I even admitted it's like, yeah, it was me. And they're like, okay, we'll take it. And they left it up there basically. Put it that way, because it was one of those things where they realized, you know what? Um, Sometimes it shows humor. So it had a sort of a backdoor effect, basically, or not a backdoor effect. It wasn't a side effect, but it was an effect that I didn't expect. Basically, put it that way, where um, people thought, okay, like they have some funny people there. It must be a humorous company and such. And I'm like, okay, that was not what I was going for, but in any case, it went up. Uh, and from there, other people were putting their, reviews, and I was seeing, like 4 out of 4 stars, so many 4 out of 4 stars. I'm like, to the point where I'm like, this can't be right. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just go to Glassdoor and let me just tell them, hey, look, you should take down my review. Basically, I said like, hey, look, this review is inaccurate. It should be taken down. They said basically, and this is Glassdoor, by the way. They said basically, it's like, nope, we cannot do this unless we are contacted by HR. I'm like, wait, what? I'm the one that wrote the review. I even told them like, oh, look, I can even tell you when it was written, the timestamp it was written. I could give you the IP address if you got the IP address of when it was recorded. You can see right now that's from here, from this IP address. And they're like, no, it must be from HR. I'm like, I'm the one that wrote the review, and they want HR to take it down. If I'm the one that's saying like take it down, and that's when I realized, okay, so in reality, companies can take down scathing reviews, and I actually did witness that, where we had 3 former employees basically, where this company that I worked for, didn't have any Glassdoor reviews at all, and then all of a sudden, if you did a Google search for the company, Glassdoor reviews were showing up, and we look, and some people noticed, and like, whoa, I wasn't aware. Someone else brought it to my attention. I'm like, whoa, okay, and like you could tell the reviews that were being written, you know who the people were basically. Put it that way. You know who they were. Now there was no legal action taken against them, but whether it be inaccurate or accurate, I don't know. Well, there might have been some accuracy, but of course there could have been also a case of like some aspects of the review were basically sort of getting their revenge in a ways. Um, you know, more so to the point of just putting it out. Basically just trying to get one up on them, basically, or getting back at them at least in some form. And this is one of the ways. Um, let's put it this way. Even though it was, I don't want to say slightly inaccurate, but it was still there. A week or two later, actually 2 weeks later, 2 to 3 weeks later, actually, surprisingly, I can't remember the exact time frame, but seeing it, we noticed that the reviews were gone. And so I asked her, I was like really surprised. I'm like, wait, what just happened here? I'm like, those three negative reviews are gone. I'm like, there were other more positive reviews that were showing up as a result. I'm like, wait, what just happened? And I found out later, um, they Glassdoor was asked by HR to take down those negative reviews, basically because of the fact is they said the reason was these individuals were fired, and so their retribution was basically to backhanded slap to the company itself by putting these negative reviews of the company itself. Now that was that aspect, but now I'm starting to see rave reviews of the company. I'm like, wait, hold on. I know this is not entirely true, but I mean, there was a lot of good aspects of it, but I was like, wait, something's wrong here. And so it was one of those things where, I was realized. So companies have the ability to take down negative reviews to the point where, if you're doing a research on a company, you're looking at it and you realize, wait a minute, what? It's like all these 4 out of 4 stars or 5 out of 5 stars. I can't remember the exact thing, but reality is you're seeing all these reviews, and then you're seeing these really, really positive reviews. You're like, okay, this must be a great company. But when you join the company, you find out actually it's not true. So it's one of those things where that's when I realized okay, these review sites, specifically Glassdoor, can be gamed. Just like LinkedIn, to be quite honest. I mean, there was a case where, sorry for me, I'm just kind of thirsty. Um, there was a case where someone basically asked for an endorsement. And I'm like, wait, what? Why would I endorse you? And this is not a coworker, this is someone else. And they try and ask me to endorse them. I'm like, why would I endorse you? There's no need. And it's like, well, if you endorse me, I get to the top and I get more business and such. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But in reality, I just forgot about it and chose not to do it because I'm like, that's not my style. But I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So this is one of those things where it's not just Glassdoor, but LinkedIn as well too. All these reviews that you're seeing could be potentially, or endorsements per se, could be negative endorsements because it's hard to see more of the aspects of. There was a Black Mirror episode that based on where you stood in society, based on your ratings or your star ratings, basically, or your reviews. And that's when I realized, wait, people were actually looking for that. Because, we got these, the gig economy, where you got the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, where I remember when I was leaving them, sometimes they didn't even ask for a tip. They said, hey, can you give me a 5-star, basically? I'm like, okay, sure. And sure enough, I forgot to do it, basically. But I'm like, I'm not going to give a 5-star to a guy that asked for a 5-star. Don't ask me for that. Because, that was the thing. And, some people were, asking me for, 10 stars, 4 or 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. I'm like, huh? I was like, that's not how this works. And I was like, if I give them a 5-star, they would give me a 5-star as a passenger. I'm like, wait, no, I don't want to do that. I'd rather base it on the merits. I was like, as a passenger, what you could consider a good passenger, I'm hoping, basically, because one, I try to stay quiet as much as I possibly can. Try not to do anything with their car. Basically, just try to sit and just maybe take a nap or whatever it may be. But essentially, try not to disturb the driver. And if the driver decides to talk to me, fine, I'll talk back to him. Basically, give him, if he wants to converse with me, I'll converse with him. I don't mind doing that. But it's one of those things where sometimes you just want to not converse with them, but at the same time, I don't want to be that person. Basically, like, yeah, you know what, I'm kind of busy, dude, or I'm just trying to nap, so and whatever it is. So I'll still converse with the driver, even though I'm sleepy sometimes. I want to just take a quick nap, or basically lose my thoughts on the drive over, just like think about nothing, or basically try to sort of relax in ways. Because like there's that calming effect when you drive, you're not thinking of things, and so sometimes it's just like a calming effect, and that's why people like to drive. Um, so it's one of those things where I start to realize like it's slowly, surely, how can you trust all these reviews? Now I will say this: when I do review, I'll give my honest opinions at that point. And honestly, my opinions are now most of my reviews are basically on Google Maps about restaurants or places that I've been to, and I'll give you my proper stars and I'll give you my reviews from that perspective, and I'll leave it there. Sometimes the owner of the establishment will come back and say, "Oh, we are so sorry." It's like, well, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like like it is what it is. I mean, just do what it is. But if there are other people that are putting those exact same reviews, you might as well do that. Will I put that on Open Table and Yelp? Open Table maybe so if I book it. Yelp, I don't really have the Yelp app anymore, honestly, because it's one of those things where I know what they were doing, kind of look like locational data analytics, capturing information similar to what Facebook's doing. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to use Yelp as much per se. Plus, the other factor is, let's not forget, Yelp is gamed quite a large number because I went to a restaurant, and basically they said, or an establishment, I should say, not a restaurant. It was kind of a restaurant, but it was an establishment. Slow cooked food, basically. Put it that way. Slow cooked fast food, I should say. Sorry. They had a little flyer saying, "Hey, if you give us a Yelp review, most likely a 5-star Yelp review, you would get a free egg roll." I'm like, well, nah, I was like, that was bold. And then I realized, wait, let me hold on. I never about to look at the Yelp reviews on this thing, and I looked at the Yelp reviews online. I'm like, wait a minute. There was like a lot of 5 stars. I'm like, okay, so they're bribing people. So, looking at Yelp reviews is something you got to be careful about as well too. Put it this way. So every review that you see, you've got to now sort of, I don't want to say take it with a grain of salt, but you've got to take into consideration that how actually factual is this? And is it possible, maybe, like for me, if there is a case where like something is like that, I've done that maybe twice or 3 times actually on Yelp. Did a Yelp review for a free drink basically. But in my review, when I gave it 5 stars, even though my message was positive in a ways, if you read closely, even though it wasn't outright, it was very subtle, but you could tell that I wasn't truly happy about the service and such. So, and it was very subtle, basically. Um, like one example, basically, was I said basically, it's like, yeah, this is a great establishment. It's located in a strip, like right by a strip mall, basically, and also like the bouncers are very thorough, and the servers are really top notch, where they're up to speed and know what they're doing, basically. Um, and the drinks are by far nowhere near what you can expect, basically, from them. Or not nowhere near, but like the drinks themselves are by far above par than what you would get at a normal place, or what you would get at another dive bar. Put it that way. I think I said, or something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but those moments and times I had to be very careful, but also using some aspects of the surroundings and the environment to like put it in there to let them let the reader know, or yeah, the reader know at that point. So that's one of those things where I'll say basically this is, um, when reviewing, looking at reviews like Glassdoor reviews, LinkedIn endorsements, or LinkedIn reviews for that matter, Yelp reviews, of course, as well as Uber and Lyft, as well as Yelp reviews and maybe even Google reviews, for that matter, as well too. You've got to be careful into reading them, taking them to heart, basically, or taking them to actual truths. There might be some truth to it, and there might be some non-truth to it. Basically, if you see a case where like sometimes when you see the negatives, like you have to see some of the negatives to see, okay, maybe this is probably accurate. But then also at the same time, let's not forget that competitors will also post up their negative stuff as well too to make sure that stuff happens. And similarly to like to the point where like I think you saw with if you are a Vanderpump Rules fan, you saw that after the whole Scandival thing, uh, Schwartz and Sandy's as well as I think Tom Tom's were getting suddenly negative reviews, like 1 stars all of a sudden. The army out there, Ariana Army, basically went out there and started giving negative reviews. When in reality, some of these people never even went to the place. I'll admit, I put out a review as well too, but I didn't give it like a 1 star. Didn't give it a 4 star or 5 star for that matter. It was like just average. The location was but I did say basically, hey, look, the drinks aren't bad. There's this one drink that was really good, that's surprisingly really good, and as well as the location. It's in a strip mall, not so great, but pretty much far to get out there. And don't expect to get dinner or anything to eat after 10 o'clock. You have to go elsewhere. So if you want something, they do welcome you. They do allow you to bring your own food after a certain period of time if you're hungry, or order out basically, and then bring it in basically at that point. So we'll be sometimes honest about that. But that's when I was realizing, okay, like not all of it's accurate. So for me, I try to be as accurate as I possibly can. Of course, if there's a case where like free food or free food or free drinks are involved, and they say, hey, give us a excellent star, I will give the star, but I'll make you got to look at my comment section on my review actually to see, because like I said, it's not outright there, but it's subtle and sometimes a little bit cryptic, but you can notice it what I was trying to say basically at that point. And saying, and also if I make references to other reviews, that means basically that yeah, I wasn't truly thrilled about it. But in any case, I'll leave it at that. I ironically enough, I was gonna say leave a comment in the comment section. I haven't really commented myself, but you're welcome to comment whatever it is. Hopefully, it's truthfully honest. Look, I'll take it. I won't take it too personally. You can be brutally honest. I love constructive criticism, so go ahead and put it out there in the comment section. I do read my comments as I said, and I do respond to them when they weren't a response, but also at the same time when I also get notified. I don't get notified as much, quite honestly, on my about YouTube, anyways. Um, and unfortunately, with Twitch, I can't post it up on Twitch because the fact is you have to be affiliate or partner, so I can't post up uh, historical actual files. I have to do a stream basically, and one of those days I'll stream out something else outside of it. But outside of that, yeah, I'll go with that. Um, but again, I do thank you for those who have subscribed and any sort of people who like my content, or any of my viewers like my content, like my videos, or like my channel, or like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm not going to force you to subscribe. I mean, it'd be great if you could subscribe. You subscribe to me. I'll try to subscribe to you when I get notified as well too. That's the one thing I hate is I don't get notifications about subscribers. If I can get notifications about subscribers, I can go in and then like start looking and probably subscribe to them. When I've seen the subscribers, I was able to follow one person, but that's as far as I went. I'm like, damn it, they don't show me the subscribers, like who subscribes, so I can go and follow them at that point. But with that, or subscribe to their channels for that matter. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. With that, unfiltered, unedited, and of course, unrehearsed. Until next time.